Hey there, and welcome to the Make Jesus Culture Conference. And I just wanted to welcome you and thank you for being with us. And if you're accessing this at the beginning of our conference, or if you saw this, if you're seeing it in the archives, we want to just post a video to tell you a little bit about this conference and what our heart is in it. We gathered this conference based on some ideas and with a heart to see it be unlike any conference, in that we wanted to put priority on what comes next, not on what the event was. And if you think about it, most conferences, they really take and they disconnect two very important things: content and context. They take you away from your church to come learn these content, and it's usually elevated speakers or people that are well known, and they sell their merch and their books, and it's a very kind of product-oriented, very business-oriented transaction. You get a lot of information. You can't really form a whole lot of community, and then you go back, and it kind of puts you back in your context with all these tools, but no one else has kind of been there with you. And we wanted to connect content to context. And we really started thinking about innovation in the life of the local church. Our whole heart in this conference and what we do at Garden City and ACT International and some of our partners is to really flesh out what innovation, artistic expression, creativity on every level can look like for building up the local church and in its worship and its mission. And in a sense, much of what we've done in conferences over the last few years, it really hasn't built up. Sometimes it almost depletes the church. It takes resources, it takes people out of their context, away from it, and it builds up kind of this cult of celebrity. We're going to refer to it along through this conference, where it kind of builds up those people that we should be listening to, and it becomes a production event. It becomes huge resources with hotels and food, and it really depletes a lot. And then you send it back, and the resonating thing after every conference is always like, it's awesome. 3 days you come back, you're pumped, and within 2 weeks it wears off. What we really thought about was saying, okay, a conference, really essentially, what does it do? It transmits information. That's really it is. It's just drinking from a fire hose. We wanted this event to be drinking from a fire hose, and we wanted to start a fire. And we wanted to put all of our time and energy into what comes next, not necessarily this. And so we brought 150 speakers together, and if you'll notice, it kind of deflates that cult of celebrity. We're not trying to pole vault any artist. We're not trying to draw towards any name. We're not trying to solicit people who know this person's teaching. And we want to deflate it and see that there's small people speaking here, there's larger names speaking here, but together we bring a holistic picture to how to move forward. And we wanted to dispense information. And if you have a local conference, it really is very, very isolating. It isolates it to who can afford it, who can come, and who's close. But there's other people in other parts of the world where we're broadcasting where they may not be able to come. We wanted to get the information out there because we believe it's God's information. It's not ours. We want to get it out there as much as possible. And we didn't want to sell products. We didn't want to sell books so you do it our way. We wanted to press out really a paradigm instead of a method. A paradigm of how to look at things and how to ask the right questions instead of do this our way or here's how we did it. We want you to think through how God crafted us to see things. And this is a big element to our conference. And so what we did, we've broadcast and we will broadcast 150 speakers. It's about 300 hours of content over the period of 2 weeks. And what we're going to do is we're going to archive those. You can buy an archive for $99 at any time. You can have access to this archive forever. And we'll be posting not only the videos to watch as many times as you want, but we'll also be posting resources they may have mentioned in their video. And we'll also have a presenter outline. They've outlined questions to take into your church and start asking. Instead of coming back and teaching your church, we want you to come in and start to ask questions and develop dialogue. And the idea is that we have been given the mind of Christ. And in 1 Corinthians, when Paul uses that term, he's referring to the Holy Spirit. So if we've been given the mind of Christ, literally invited into his thoughts, we should be putting together incubators within our church that are solving the world's biggest issues. Too much of stuff in the church has been outsourced. We've outsourced seminary. We've outsourced counseling. We've outsourced the formation of businesses. We've outsourced music and production. We've outsourced. And pretty much it's kind of become sermons and sacraments. That's what we do. And it's become this 1.5 hour event. And we wanted to see, well, what's happening to the rest of life? Where's the connection of how the gospel fleshes itself out in politics and business and the media and the arts and the sciences and education and families? What does all this look like pressed out? And what does it look like for the local church to form this, to discover this, to pastor people, because in this conference, we're going to look at creativity. It's not just your craft, but it's your character. We can't just be excellent in what we do and be crappy people. We can't just be great people and crappy at what we do. We have to be both. Our theology is going to press itself out in our biography. What we think will channel into what we make. And that's why we're doing this conference. And in a sense, we want it to start a fire. We want this content to be here forever, and you can have access to the archive if you pay for it. If you want select videos after the conference, and maybe after now that you're viewing this, is you can purchase maybe little bundles. Maybe you're just interested in how the gospel is shaping songwriting, or just how it's shaping business, or how it's shaping writing or narrative, or how it's shaping film, or how it's shaping acting or theater, or whatever your kind of flavor is. You can also buy up little small bundles to get different videos to engage. And these presenter outlines are designed to help you go to connect content and context. We want you to go in, learn it with your church, and start fleshing out and eat what we call circles. And we've fleshed this out over our conference, and we want you to learn about this. But basically, it essentially boils down to eat together, learn the Bible together, do life together, and make together. And that's going to produce a mission together. And it starts with that meal. That is the absolute center point of what we're affirming. And you'll learn more about this as you view more of our videos, or maybe you're watching this and you already have seen some of those videos. So I'm going to turn that over to you. And what we really want to see happen is, and I'll share a story. I was in Uganda about 15 years ago, walked in the backwaters of the jungle, no water, no resources, walked into this church, and I'm studying Afro-Cuban percussion at the time, so I'm really excited to kind of learn indigenous music and hear the voice of Africa and their heritage, their lineage. And I walk in, they're all singing Hillsong songs. And I remember at that moment, I couldn't articulate what happened, but I knew there's something wrong with this. So obviously I asked them, I said, tell me a little bit about your lineage, your heritage, how Jesus has come into this land. I want to hear those songs. I want to hear your heart language. And immediately they erupted with their own rhythms and their own language and their own heart towards God. And I saw the kingdom emerge. And I didn't know how to articulate what that moment looked like for me, but I just remember walking away and going, and now I've boiled it down to this, is what happens is most of the models of the world tends to eclipse the voice of the local church. We put business models on the local church, and then those businesses start to do those, but we forget they originated somewhere else. And somewhere else starts to eclipse our time and place. Or music starts to come in and eclipse us, and we're singing all these songs, which is fine, but it eclipses our voice, and it silences it instead of equips it. And we wanted to, with this conference, we want to step alongside of you and not say, here, sing this, do this way. We're going to say, here's a paradigm, here's a little paradigm you can go forward with that the scripture teaches us. As simple as eating meals, learning together, living life together, creating together, and being on mission together. It's literally that simple. And that you could do it in a way that would start to mine out the needs of your community and fashion businesses pastorally, fashion arts pastorally. What I mean by that is not just do it because Harvard Business Review said do it this way, or not because Nashville said do it this way, but get into the dirt of your context and say, what are the needs of my people? What's the way my town's heritage screams Jesus? Where's the legacy points, I call them? Where are things in my town that are places of godly, gospel-centered legacy, because they're there? And you can go to those places and you can start praying and asking God to say, how do we vocalize this? And I think that that's the work of the creative. The creative is able to sum up and make points visual and draw attention back to things that are familiar in ways that make you wonder again, ways that make you feel again, ways that make you say what again. And artists, in a sense, sit on those outlying positions because we contemplate those things. And we wanted you to take that back and get around these circles, eating together, serving together, learning together, being on mission, creating together. And we've talked a lot about in this conference. All the videos flesh out how to do this and helpful ways. And we have tools at Garden City about our circles. There's literally dozens and dozens of documents. You can get as easy with this, or you can get as detailed with this as you want. They're all there just free of charge to help you do this in your context. But we want to see this happen. Indigenous culture. And another big thing in our conference, we want everyone to see themselves as artsy type. In the beginning, God created. So out of his love for himself, his first response was to create. We believe it's essential for the Christian who knows their love, the first response is going to be create. And we want to understand that we don't just label this as in my church, I have a creative team. You see what that's theologically saying. It's labeling these people. And we don't mean to necessarily, but we subconsciously maybe, we undermine the very message of the gospel. And we believe that creativity is in the heart of all of us, and we're going to bring the gospel into the works of our hands, and we want to think more theologically so we can live out our biography with better doxology, better praise and glory to God in giving him praise and thanks in all things we do. And I do believe one last aspect of our conference is to motivate you towards the cause of justice. We use Bono as an example. This man who's written beautiful music, and U2 takes it to the worst parts of the world. The whole world looks to see the beauty, to hear the beauty. And what does he do? The second they look, he drops the curtain. And they see behind the lights, behind the music, they see the need. And he's connected creativity to mission. And I'm not going to speak for his faith. I don't know him. He's been quite a tortured soul, I think, over the years would be to say it lightly. I think he's obviously searching. I think that Christianity would probably be where he leans. I don't know where he's at. But regardless, I think all of us artists, that is our job. We have a bigger mission than getting on stage and selling our t-shirts, selling our song, getting up and selling paintings. I just really think that's a really small mission. It's a really small view, a narrow view of the good life. It really is. But when we open it up and we see that our beautiful things that grab attention actually can make messages that make things better, draw attention to real needs, I think that that's a bigger cause. It's a bigger kingdom vision. And I really do believe the currency of our day, the catalyst of our day, and the creativity of our day is a cause. Our currency is not cash anymore. It's an artist will serve, a person will create beyond and above their means if they are given a cause worth serving. And that is exactly what the gospel gives us. So check out our circles. We want you to press this into local communities. We've given you lots of resources to do that. It's very simple. We believe it's based around just a Bible paradigm. It's not based on one church's model. It fits every model because it's a paradigm. See, God doesn't give us models. He gives us paradigms, ways of thinking, not exact ways of doing things. And he pairs those things together, and he gives us a way to go forward. And we've got our marketplace, a software that's going to start bringing together people in the church. One of our authors mentioned that, it's hard to kind of sometimes find writers in your genre or enough writers in your church. So we want to give a place for you to connect creatively and start meeting. Maybe it's through a Google Hangout. Maybe we want, obviously in a utopia, perfect world, we want you around a table, but we want you to start rubbing elbows with people who can challenge your craft. You can work together, and we want to start seeing where these little cells of creativity start bubbling to the surface in Africa and in Scotland and in the United States and in Mexico and South America and China. We want to start seeing where these things are kind of popping up, and we want to, instead of measuring our job as a production company to say, well, let's go take that and make it into a book. Let's make some money. No, we want to take our resources, and that's what we're doing. We have grants to kind of start helping fund these ideas so that we can connect you to the resources to take that church-centric gospel idea and make it something that's beneficial not only to your own church, but other churches that are around the nation. And we want to equip you. We don't want to come in and eclipse you and overlay what we think. We want to come in and say, how do we get this to come up in your culture? And that's really what our marketplace is about. It's connecting you with resources, connecting with people. They're going to make your craft effective in your culture, in your time and place. We have a lot of projects. You can go to the Worship Ministry Catalyst, one of our partners. It lists all of our projects we have. We have stuff in all kinds of different art. We want to add even more. We have theology projects. We have fiction, nonfiction. We have musical projects. We have artistic projects. We have all kinds of different things. We want you to join in if it'd be beneficial for your community. And we have a lot of things that you can partner in. If you go to Garden City, we have ways that you can help start artist networks in your community that can be serving your community. We have ways that we've brought artists together to serve you and bring you resources you may necessarily not have had. So this whole conference starts the match, lights the match, starts the fire. We've put all of our time and energy into helping flesh these ideas out for you. So we don't want you to just watch this content. We want you to go do it, and we want you to know you can contact us through us Make Jesus Culture. You can contact us through Garden City or the links to Act International and all these different sites, and we want to walk with you, and we want to help you do this, and we want to help your churches do this. So I hope you enjoyed the conference. If you were here, if you're watching this after the fact, I hope you enjoy the content if you're just getting here, but know that this conference is to equip you, to enable you to go and make Jesus culture in all of your home, in all your work, and in all your play. So God bless. Let us know if we can serve you.